So hey guys, it's Heather Boyd here, and I am here with
Natasha Henderson.
Yes. So Natasha is my first guinea pig for this series, Stories of Starting, that I'm posting on my blog. And these are stories about people that have started interesting projects or adventures and how they got started. So Natasha, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Natasha. I know Heather from the world of visual art. We're both visual artists as well as everything else that we do. And what I'm going to be talking to you today is about another creative expression, dance. I am not really a professional dancer per se, but I've found something that is a great way to move and again creatively express oneself.
Yes, we're both visual artists, and I know Natasha because she used to run the Fleurbane Gallery downtown Montreal. And Natasha, you're still an active artist.
Yes.
So let's start by tell me us a little bit about your work. What kind of work you do?
My work is painting. For the most part. I also do some textile work. I've made puppets. I work in the embroidery industry as well. So I usually do oil on canvas, abstract-ish, expressive paintings of cats, of birds, of abstracted landscapes for the most part.
Perfect. And actually, I'm going to segue into a question that I had later in my list, but because we're talking about painting, I know a lot of your themes in your painting revolve around music, like especially at the time that I knew you at Fleurbane Gallery, you were doing a lot of paintings inspired to music. So maybe as a kind of a segue into the dance, you could tell us a little bit about your background with your interest in music.
My interest in music is, I don't think, especially developed as some might be, but I like music. I love some music. I've played music non-professionally, very not professional at all, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And so it's an enjoyable thing to connect with what you hear, with changing your mood, with moving your body sometimes, or again with painting it can be related in that you have fluidity, you have repetition and rhythm, you have colors that harmonize or are discordant, you have different moods, you have different things that you capture. So it's another art form, and it's equally wonderful. It's not my forte. It's not my venue. I keep saying venue.
Not music.
Not what I
such,
do.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it.
It's true, and actually that's something I hadn't even thought about, is the relation between the actual act of painting and music and dance, which it's true. Like that's something that must have had a lot of influence on you in getting involved with groove, because groove is such a free flow type of style of dance.
Well, and like with painting or other art forms, there groove and painting, there's sort of, I want to say rules, but they're flexible rules. They're suggestions. They're things that help, like technical things that if you use oil paint in a certain way, you'll have an effect that you want. If you learn through practice how to do something, you can then become more creative with it.
It's true. When you have the basic tools and techniques, you can, kind of, start with that, have a solid base, and then kind of go off from there.
But again, like with dance, with groove dance or with creative genres, you can be a beginner, quote unquote.
Yes.
And everyone should do it.
Yes.
Everyone should be allowed and feel able to move, and should be allowed and able to create things.
It's true. You don't. There's not so many fixed technical rules with it. You give people a few basic ideas and they go from there.
Yeah. So
let's backtrack.
So it's
a bit.
like art therapy, sort of.
Yeah. It's true, eh?
It's therapeutic.
It's very therapeutic.
Yeah.
It's true. So tell us, because this is all about start by starting,
Yeah.
why don't you tell us about how you discovered groove, and what it is, and let's start by, why don't you tell us what groove is and yeah.
In my words.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Well, my experience, and like with anything, is this is my unique experience, and some people might have similar experiences. But I was introduced to this dance by a friend who took the class with another acquaintance of hers and loved it. So she invited me to come. She described it as a free form, sort of easy dance class, which is kind of a way you could describe it, although there is a little bit more form to it than that, and there actually is a lot of solid, there's a solid foundation of education in the simplicity of the dance. So you're given these simple moves and you can express yourself with it. So I fell in love with it. It was something I could do. I needed to move at the time in my life. Well, I still do, but I was not moving enough.
Okay.
And I quickly developed some health benefits. So
Amazing.
through doing that once a week, I sought out another class, and so I was going twice a week.
Okay.
And then for a while I was going 3 times a week.
Wow.
And then I got a gym membership, and I started doing other things as well. And all through this, I do have some health issues, like everyone,
Yeah.
mobility, arthritis, stuff like that. But this has helped it,
Amazing.
and I'm not afraid to dance. So it's also been fun. Like, it's fun.
Yes.
You know, it's good to have fun.
It's so fun because I know I do a lot of classes, like different kinds of exercise classes, yoga, and one class I really love is eccentrics, which is kind of similar in a way that it's a dance, like it's evolved from ballet dance. But what I love about groove is you don't see the hour go by. It just flies, you know, after, you know, the class ends and it's like, whoa, where did that go?
and they're like, oh, I'm red and sweating now.
yeah, exactly.
And I feel like $1,000,000.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But it doesn't feel like exercise because you're having so much fun.
Yeah,
It's
and
really
especially
amazing.
when you have a facilitator of the groove that facilitates it. You know,
Okay.
it's not a follow the leader class,
Yes.
which I think is important too. For my history of teaching has been things like art.
Yeah,
So not like dancing and being perfect and doing a certain thing.
Yeah.
But encouraging people to find their creativity and do it themselves.
Yes.
So that's a lot of what this is. So
It's
it really
true.
appealed to me personally in a lot of ways as
Yeah.
well. As a teacher of it. Well, not a teacher, but
yeah.
hopefully a facilitator.
Yes.
I'm working towards that.
Come in there,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's interesting the parallels with the art, which is something I didn't even think about going into the interview, which is really
Yeah,
cool.
it's a very creative form of
Yes.
art. It's dance, you know, dance
Definitely.
music. Yeah.
Yeah. And can you tell us just a little bit about how groove dance started?
The creator of it is a woman named Misty Tripoli,
Mm-hmm.
and she is from the United States originally, and she has a long history of being a professional dancer and fitness instructor.
Okay.
Her story is that she developed eating disorders and became essentially, she described herself as depressed.
Okay.
Through this you're never perfect enough sort of attitude, this sort of perfection, go, go, go.
Yes.
And so she had kind of an epiphany one day
Yeah.
where she realized this shouldn't be like this, it should be fun.
Yeah.
And so then she just came up with this things that she called the groove truths,
Interesting.
which I'm sort of internalizing and expressing in my own
Okay.
way, but you shouldn't look like other people.
Okay.
You are in charge of yourself.
Okay. Yes.
You can do this.
Yeah.
And through practice, you're going to get better.
Amazing.
So, yes, and it doesn't matter. Did I say it already? It doesn't matter what you look like.
Yes.
And if anyone does care, that's
Yeah,
their problem
that's their
that
problem.
they care. So,
yeah. So these are her principles.
Those are the principles
behind.
that,
Amazing.
you know, she just came up with these through a lightning bolt boom
Yeah.
sort of thing. And so developed this form of dance and just had fun with it. And
Amazing.
it's grown into this massive sort of empire of
Yeah.
of dance. And so the idea is that you're united
Okay.
in your movement on the dance floor, but unique.
Interesting.
So it's kind of a nice concept as well.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting class. Like the idea of being united, but unique, because a lot of it is free form, and you're kind of dancing around the room, and you think you're going to bump into people all the time, but somehow you manage not to, which is amazing.
And you respect each other. You respect each other's space, and we're all different sizes, and we move differently, and we go different speeds and everything, but we still, and even if you do bump it, it's still fun. It's true. Like, we bumped into each other.
It's true. And it's very intuitive. Like sometimes you think, what am I going to do next? But then you just stop thinking about that at one point, because it just comes naturally.
And that's also where the provider, in my case, but hopefully facilitator someday, helps to gently guide the class, by dancing through and suggesting movements, or 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, just little things like that gets people back on track.
Yes.
And it's also, you don't want to fall off the track, because then you might lose something there.
No. So I had another question, and I was wondering, because often the projects we take on and the things that we really thrive at are possibly inspired by things from our youth. Can you think of anything from your childhood that would have inspired your interest in group?
Well, dance in general, I was enrolled in dance classes when I was young.
Okay.
At the age of 5, I think, 4 or 5, I was in tap dance, and that went into jazz dance as well when I was 8 years old. I stopped tap dance when my feet reached a certain size, because I was 11 years old, and I would have been forced to take on high heel shoes to continue, or wear men's shoes, and I didn't want to be so embarrassed, and there's no way I was going to walk or dance in high heel shoes at that age, so I quit.
Okay.
So that experience, I liked dance, it was fun. I did have to try to conform to what was being taught, and it did teach me things, but again, I was kind of the chunky kid, and I was self-conscious, and that delicate age, it was not as fun as it should have been. So then I fell away from that, and then I found that negatively dance became like a sexual thing, like in the clubs or whatever, and I felt self-conscious there. So it was never fun until I got a bit older. I started doing African dance at the Y.
Oh, very fun.
Which is actually, a lot of groovers will dance barefoot.
Okay.
So for me, that's very comfortable. Right today, I danced with my shoes, but half the time I'll dance without. And I really like dancing barefoot.
Cool.
Yeah. So that was also got me to get down and realize that if you can't, like if you have arthritis, or you have reasons you can't get up and jump and do high energy things, you can get down, and your heart rate will rise.
True.
So there's different kinds of movement. So that's part of my history. There's like a little bit of history there that's not happy, but then a little bit of very happy history.
Well,
and I guess also just being an artist and an artsy person, I'm open to stuff that's creative.
Oh, I just love it. I think it's really a great discovery. So Natasha, tell us where people can find you, and what classes you have going on for the next little while.
Yes, you can find me on Facebook. I am Groove Dance with Natasha, and or you can look me up, Natasha Henderson. I am also at the Marcel Giroux Community Center in Verdun, which is on Valentine Street, 2 blocks from the Verdun Metro. Tons of street parking. Monday nights, 7 till 8 p.m. And
for the rest of the summer,
until the end of August. September, I'm not booked, but I will either continue in that center or close by. I'll research something and find it. Possibly another time during the week, but definitely will continue the class into the fall.
That's awesome. And where can we find your art?
Again, on Facebook, you can find me at Natasha Henderson Art.
Okay.
My website is natashahenderson.com.
Okay. Perfect.
I'm also on Instagram.
Thank you so much. This has been awesome, and I'm really so happy to be coming to all your classes, and I hope to make almost every single one this summer.
You're a groove star.
Yeah.